Inside a room filled with talismans, a young high school student, Yuji Itadori, wakes up strapped to a chair, facing a blindfolded man, Satoru Gojo. Gojo asks Yuji which one he is now. Yuji recalls someone named Fushiguro and worries about his senior, but Gojo tells him that his secret execution is already set, leaving no time to worry about others. The day before, Yuji calls Sugisawa Hospital to check on his grandfather, but the elderly man urges Yuji to go to his club. Meanwhile, Megumi Fushiguro, a jujutsu tech student, searches Sugisawa High for a cursed object. After failing to find it, he contacts Satoru Gojo, who tells him he can't return home until the object is found. The student council president threatens to shut down Yuji's occult club due to inactivity. Iguchi and Sasaki, fellow members, argue that the students are being affected by a supernatural force, but the president dismisses their claim, attributing the illness to tics. Additionally, Yuji is registered with the track and field team, not the occult club. The coach interrupts, demanding Yuji help them win nationals. They agree to settle the dispute on the field. Meanwhile, the jujutsu tech student, in disguise, searches for the cursed object and witnesses Yuji winning a shot put competition. Yuji casually breaks the world record, solidifying his place in the occult club. Sasaki and Iguchi reassure Yuji that he doesn't have to stay in their club, but he chooses to for personal reasons. Megumi, impressed by Yuji's performance, compares him to Maki Zenin, an upperclassman at Jujutsu Tech. As Yuji passes by, Megumi senses cursed energy connected to the cursed object, but before he can approach Yuji, the latter rushes to the hospital to see his grandfather. Yuji's grandfather is annoyed by his visit, feeling it's a waste of time. He tries to talk about Yuji's parents, but Yuji doesn't listen. Despite the tension, the grandfather gives Yuji a final lesson, urging him to help others so they can die surrounded by loved ones. A short while later, Yuji's grandfather quietly passes away. Yuji packs his things, grieves briefly, and heads to the lobby to finish some paperwork. There, he meets Megumi, who introduces himself. Although Yuji tries to stay somber, Megumi asks to talk. He requests that Yuji hand over the cursed object, an artifact the occult club found. Megumi then explains what curses really are. Curses come from large amounts of negative human energy. Yuji discovers that the cursed object is dangerous because its sealing talisman is breaking down. However, the box Yuji thought held the object is empty. The other occult club members have it and plan to break the seal at school tonight. When Yuji tells Megumi, he is shocked, leading Yuji to ask how serious the situation is. Megumi gravely replies that Yuji's friends are in danger of dying and that the situation is worse than they realize. Sasaki and Iguchi sneak into Sugisawa High at night to break the seal, creating the right conditions for their experiment. When they open the talisman, they find a finger inside. Suddenly, their light goes out and curses start to appear, unnoticed by the students. As Yuji arrives at the school, he feels a strange pressure, but Megumi insists he stay behind, even though Yuji is determined to help save his friends. Sasaki hides inside to avoid the curses now roaming the fourth-floor hallways. Iguchi appears beside her, but a small curse has taken over his head. A larger curse approaches Sasaki from behind. Meanwhile, Megumi enters the building and is confronted by another curse. Using his jujutsu skills, Megumi summons his divine dogs and orders them to devour the enemy. Yuji waits outside, questioning his hesitation. He realizes that, while he wasn't afraid when his grandfather passed away, he is scared of dying himself. Reflecting on his grandfather's advice to help others, he wonders about the difference between their deaths. Meanwhile, Megumi and his divine dogs fight through the building's curses to save the students, but the number of curses keeps growing. As he turns a corner, Megumi finds that several curses have merged, trying to devour both the cursed object and the students. Realizing he won't reach them in time, Yuji suddenly crashes through the fourth-floor window. While Yuji accepted his grandfather's peaceful death, he knows this kind of death is wrong. Yuji uses his superhuman athleticism to save his friends from the curse, allowing Megumi's divine dogs to finish the job. Megumi thanks Yuji for helping, but is unsure why he did. When Yuji asks about Megumi's Shikigami, Megumi explains that he can see them because of what happened tonight. Despite his fear, Yuji acted to prevent this tragedy and ensure his friends could die with dignity. As Megumi is about to retrieve Ryomen Sukuna's finger, a special grade cursed object, a curse, suddenly drops down from above. Megumi pushes Yuji aside but gets caught by the curse. He tries to summon Nue, another Shikigami, but the curse overwhelms him, throwing him through a wall and dispelling his divine dogs. Yuji rushes into battle to save Megumi but finds he can't harm the curse without cursed energy, even with his athletic skills. As he struggles, Yuji almost feeds the cursed finger to the curse but instead catches it in his own mouth. Desperate to save everyone, he decides to eat the finger, hoping to gain cursed energy. Megumi is doubtful, but Yuji swallows the finger, becoming the vessel for Ryomen Sukuna's power. Though Yuji easily defeats the curse, Megumi worries that this is the worst possible outcome. Now reborn, Ryomen Sukuna aims to destroy humanity, but Yuji manages to suppress Sukuna and regain control of his body. Preparing to summon a Shikigami, Megumi declares that he will exorcise the cursed Yuji Itadori.